If you think shadow people are just imagination, watch these cases till the end, because 5 people vanished moments after seeing a shadow figure. Their last words, last calls, and last recordings still haunt investigators today. This is ShadowsWhisper Files, where real darkness begins. It was almost 3 a.m. when 32-year-old nurse Emily Carter pulled into a lonely gas station off Highway 24 in Colorado. The winter air was freezing, the highway completely empty, and the only working camera was the grainy security cam above pump number 3, the same camera that captured her final moments. Emily steps out of her car looking tense, constantly checking the darkness behind her. Even with the low video quality, something about her movements feels wrong. She holds her phone tight in her hand, tapping her foot nervously while pumping gas. At 3:01 a.m., she suddenly flinches, a sharp, instinctive recoil, like something came too close. But the camera shows nothing behind her. No person, no animal, no movement. She rushes inside the station. The night cashier, Mark Reynolds, later told police that Emily looked terrified. Her first words were, "Did someone come in behind me?" Mark checked the live monitors. No one had entered. No one was outside. But Emily kept insisting. "He followed me from the woods. Tall, all black. I saw him behind my car." Mark offered to call the police, but she shook her head. She just needed a minute. She walked toward the coffee machine, trying to calm herself. The indoor camera caught something strange. When she reached for a cup, the lights flickered, and her shadow stretched unnaturally across the floor, longer and thinner than it should have been. Seconds later, Emily froze, eyes fixed on the corner of the store. Her lips moved silently. "He's here." She grabbed her phone and ran outside. That's when the outdoor camera captured the most chilling part. A tall, vertical black shape moved behind pump number 3. It wasn't a person. It had no edges, no features, just a dark, upright silhouette sliding across the concrete. Emily looked straight at it. You can see her breath fogging the cold air. But there's a second fog trail behind her head, like someone else is breathing heavily just inches from her neck. Panic takes over. At 3:03 a.m., she drops her keys and sprints toward the woods behind the station. Her phone light flickers in the trees until it disappears. Police arrived minutes later. Search teams spent the next 72 hours sweeping the forest. Dogs refused to enter. Officers found no tracks, no struggle, no signs of animal attack. The only clue was her phone, found lodged 12 feet up in a tree. The last recording on it? Her whispering, "He's right here," followed by a deep, distorted breath from someone, or something, standing right next to her. Emily was never found. Truck drivers still claim that some nights, a woman is seen standing at the tree line near the station, watching the road, like she's still trying to see who followed her. It was just past 11:40 p.m. when 28-year-old Ryan Mitchell left his friend's apartment in downtown Phoenix. He lived only a 10-minute walk away. He made this walk hundreds of times, but on this night, something felt different. Camera footage from the street shows him walking fast, constantly glancing behind him. At 11:46 p.m., he calls his older brother, Adam. Adam later told police the first thing Ryan whispered was, "A black shape is following me." Not a man, not a person, a shape. Adam asked if someone was walking behind him. Ryan replied, "No footsteps, no sound. It's just there." On the call recording, investigators noticed something chilling. Every time Ryan stopped speaking, a faint, heavy breathing sound came through the phone. Not Ryan's, deeper, slower. Ryan's steps quicken. He tells Adam the shadow is getting closer. Then he suddenly gasps. It's crossing the street. A nearby CCTV camera confirms this part. A long, dark silhouette crosses the road diagonally behind Ryan. It doesn't walk. It glides, like it isn't touching the ground. Ryan turns into an alley shortcut he always used. He starts running. Adam yells through the phone, but Ryan only says one last sentence. "It's right next to me." The call cuts out. Police review every camera in that alley. They find Ryan entering, but he never exits. One angle shows him passing a dumpster. Then, for exactly 0.7 seconds, the video distorts. Lines across the screen, static noise. When the image clears, Ryan is gone. Not running, not dragged, not lifted. Just gone, in less than a second. The only thing left behind were his shoes, placed neatly side by side. One facing north, one facing south, as if he vanished while mid-step. Search teams combed the rooftops, basements, tunnels, and every building in a 3-block radius. No blood, no clothing, no struggle, nothing. But there was one detail police still refused to talk about publicly. On Ryan's last phone recording, detectives heard something right before the call died. 3 slow knocks directly against his phone's microphone, as if someone tapped on it from the outside. Experts say the sound is impossible. The phone was in Ryan's pocket at the time. Till today, residents claim a shadowy figure still moves along that street late at night, gliding behind people just out of sight, just like it followed Ryan before he disappeared forever. It started as a harmless TikTok trend. 17-year-old Caleb Foster from Arizona wanted to prove his room was haunted. For months, he told friends that he heard whispering near his bed at night. Whispers that never came from the hallway, never from outside, but from inside the room. No one believed him, so one night, at 3:12 a.m., Caleb recorded audio on his phone while he pretended to sleep. The next morning, he uploaded the clip online with the caption, "Tell me if you hear it too." Millions did. Right at the 22-second mark, a faint whisper can be heard. "Look at me." It wasn't Caleb's voice. Too deep. Too close to the microphone. Too inhuman. The clip went viral overnight. But that's when things began to escalate. The next night, Caleb set up his phone on a tripod aimed at his bed. He hit record, turned off the lights, and lay down. What the camera captured between 3:10 and 3:15 a.m. still disturbs investigators. At first, the room is still. Then the blanket near Caleb's feet lifts slightly, as if someone tugged it. He stirs but doesn't wake. Seconds later, a shadow appears on the wall beside him. Not from a lamp, not from a tree, not from anything with physical form. It stands still for nearly 40 seconds, watching him sleep. The room temperature, measured later by investigators using thermal tools, dropped an unnatural 18 degrees during that moment. Then, at 3:14:32 a.m., the shadow moves, slowly, towards Caleb. The blanket slides off his chest. His breathing becomes fast, uneven. The shadow leans over him, and the camera catches a shape hovering directly above his face for 2 full seconds. Caleb gasps awake, and the camera falls. You hear only 3 things after that. His frantic breathing, something dragging across the floor, a final whisper, "Come here." The recording ends abruptly. Caleb's mother found his room empty at 7 a.m. The window was still locked from the inside. No sign of forced entry. No footprints. No struggle. Police searched the neighborhood, rooftops, nearby woods. Nothing. But they did find one clue. Caleb's phone was discovered in the hallway, positioned upright, still recording. On the last 4 seconds of audio, there is a faint sound, almost like someone humming a lullaby inside a large, empty room. Experts enhanced the audio and claimed they could hear a second sound layered under it, a slow heartbeat that didn't match Caleb's. Authorities sealed the case as a missing minor, but locals say the shadow that stood over Caleb still appears in the windows of his bedroom between 3:10 and 3:15 a.m., the exact time he vanished. The disappearance of Laura Hayes, a 29-year-old graphic designer from Seattle, remains one of the most disturbing and unexplained elevator cases ever recorded. Security cameras captured almost her entire final moments, and yet investigators still have no idea how she vanished in a fully locked building. It was 11:58 p.m. inside the Briar Hotel, a place Laura often visited for work. She looked tired but calm as she stepped into the lobby elevator with a tote bag on her shoulder. That calmness lasted exactly 6 seconds. At 12:14 a.m., Laura suddenly pressed herself against the elevator wall, eyes wide, breathing fast. She kept staring at the right corner of the elevator, the empty corner. But something about her expression makes people who watch the footage uncomfortable, like she was seeing something inches away from her face. She frantically starts pressing buttons, all of them, over and over. Button mashing is typical in horror films, but not in reality. Yet here, she does it repeatedly, like she desperately needed escape. The elevator doors open on level 7. Laura peeks out, clearly terrified. She steps halfway into the hallway, then freezes. Her head slowly turns toward the elevator, not toward the camera, not toward the hallway, but toward the empty air beside the elevator opening. Her lips move. No, please, not again. A moment later, she sprints into the hallway as if running from something just behind her. Now here's the part that has baffled investigators for years. As soon as Laura exits, the hallway camera glitches for 1.3 seconds, just static, like something passed directly in front of it. When the footage clears, Laura is gone. Not down the hallway, not in the stairwell, not in any of the next floors. Nowhere. Authorities paused and enhanced every single frame. During that 1.3-second distortion, something else appears on screen. A tall, dark, human-shaped blur stepping out of the elevator, but without reflection, without feet touching the ground, without any physical consistency. It flickers in and out like a corrupted video file. The elevator camera also caught something strange. Right after Laura left, the elevator's weight sensor still registered 2 people inside the cabin, but the camera showed it empty. When police searched the entire floor, they found no signs of Laura, but they did find her tote bag near the fire exit door. Inside it was her notebook, open to a page with one handwritten line repeated over and over. It followed me in the elevator. The fire exit door was shut from the inside. No fingerprints, no forced entry, no stairwell camera captured her. But there was one final piece. At 12:04 a.m., the motion sensor in the level 7 hallway detected movement near the spot where she vanished. But the hallway was empty, except for a faint, shadowy outline stretching across the wall, slowly sliding upward before fading completely. To this day, guests staying on level 7 report elevator doors opening on their own at night, even when no one calls them. Some say they feel someone standing behind them inside the elevator, even when they're alone. The disappearance of 22-year-old Evan Brooks during a camping trip in Redwood National Forest is still considered one of the creepiest unsolved cases on park record, not because he vanished, but because of what the camera captured seconds before. Evan and his best friend Luke had planned this trip for months. They reached the campsite around 6 p.m., set up their tent, cooked dinner, and by 10 p.m. were sitting quietly by the fire, talking. Everything was normal. At 10:41 p.m., Luke's phone recording begins. He later told police he heard breathing coming from the tree line, heavy, slow breaths, too deep to be from any animal they knew. The video starts with Luke whispering, "Do you hear that?" Evan nods. The camera pans toward the forest. Nothing at first, just darkness and tall trees. Then, a shape appears. At the far left of the frame, tall, thin, too tall for a person, a human-shaped shadow standing perfectly still between the trees. No face, no features, just a long black silhouette blending unnaturally with the night. Evan whispers, "Dude, someone's standing there." But the problem was, the shape wasn't standing on the ground. It seemed slightly elevated, as if hovering inches above the earth. Luke zooms in, but as soon as he does, the shape tilts its head, slowly, unnaturally, like it heard him. Evan panics. He grabs his bag and whispers, "We need to go. Now." They start running toward the main trail, flashlight beams shaking violently as they sprint. The camera captures fast breathing, branches snapping, and something large moving behind them. Not running, not walking, but gliding through the trees. After about 30 seconds, the audio picks up a strange sound. A low hum, almost like a deep, vibrating growl, but mechanical, not animal. As they reach a fork in the trail, Evan suddenly screams, "It's in front of us!" The camera swings upward, and there it is, the same tall shadow figure standing in the middle of the trail, blocking the way. It doesn't move. It doesn't breathe. It just stands there, as if waiting. Luke drops his phone and bolts. The final few seconds of the recording show only dirt and leaves, but the audio captures something investigators still can't explain. Evan calling Luke's name, then a sharp inhale, then silence. When rangers arrived the next morning, they found Luke wandering half a mile from the campsite, barefoot, in shock, unable to speak. It took him 3 days before he could tell the story. Search teams recovered the phone near the trail, but there was no sign of Evan. The strangest part? On a fallen log near the location where Evan vanished, rangers found a perfect human-shaped shadow mark burned into the wood, as if something incredibly hot had stood there for a long time. No signs of fire, no scorch pattern around it, just a single, blackened human silhouette. Evan was never found. Campers in that area still report seeing a tall shadow standing between the trees at night. Always still, always silent, always watching.